Right, so today we're going to talk about the human papillomavirus, which there's been a lot of talk about Jade Goody in the media recently, and I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about this and cervical cancer and the vaccine. There's been a lot going on around this area, so it's not going to be very long. It's only about 10 minutes long, maybe even less. And we've also got Dr. Gilmore here. Before we move on to the next slide, we've got Dr. Gilmore here, who's going to talk a bit more about what happens when you get an abnormal smear test result and what goes on in the hospital. So, interesting facts about this special type of virus. There's about 130 types of them. They cause foot warts, hand warts, all sorts of genital warts, and also the one we're interested in, cervical cancer. There's about 4 or 5 types of the HPV virus which causes cervical cancer, and the ones that we're most interested in, the ones that cause about 70%, 7 out of 10 of all cervical cancers are the 16 and 18. Now this virus is silent. It's a silent infection. You can't really tell if you've got it or not. It stays dormant for months, years. People have it since they're teens and end up getting abnormal smears well into their 50s. So there's no way of actually telling if you've got it or not. Well, there is a way, but there's no point in actually testing for it, because whether you've got it or not, it's the whole idea of if you have an abnormal cells in your womb that actually counts. So the virus, like I said, is undetectable on the smear that we do and we send to the lab. There is no cure for it. As you know, viruses, we can't really cure viruses, but the body's defense take care of it. It's transmitted, these ones are transmitted by sexual contact only, the ones that we're talking about that actually cause the cancer. And at any one time, about a quarter of all sexually active females in the UK have got it, infected, are infected with the virus. Now, 8 out of 10 of all sexually active women will have it at one point during their lives, so that's 80%. And most of them, 9 out of 10 people who actually have the infection, it will clear up on its own, of its own accord. Nothing will happen, you can't tell, the smears will be normal. But for the ones that are not very normal, it can actually move on to become what Jade Goody had, which is cervical cancer. So cervical cancer, 99% of it, of that type of cancer is caused by the virus that we're talking about all this time. Smoking actually doubles the risk of having this cancer because, as you know, smoking has all sorts of harmful chemicals in them that causes your cells to go a bit haywire, and that's what cancer is. It's just an overgrowth of cells, uncontrollable overgrowth of cells. Out of the people that get cervical cancer, the women that get it, 6 out of 10 are younger than 35 and the rest are older than 35. So it's more common in younger women. It's the second most common cause of cancer in women aged less than 35 years old. And there's quite a bit that are diagnosed every year. There's 2,800 with cervical cancer, and we have about 1,100 that die of cervical cancer, so it's pretty bad if you don't catch it early enough. So there's been a lot of media coverage about this new vaccine that they've introduced this year. It's for the two types of the human papillomavirus that causes it most. So the 16 and 18, which causes about 70% of all cervical cancers. It's not a cure, it's just prevention. Your body will pretty much fight it, but this vaccine only works if you don't have it, that particular strain. So that's why the injection is actually only offered to non-sexually active women from the age of 12 to 18. It's 3 injections over a 6-month period. You can also have an accelerated injection regime, which just means that you have them quicker than 6 months. But it doesn't actually prevent you from having cervical cancer. It just reduces the risk of you having cervical cancer. All you have to, but you still have to have your smears on time, because that's the way of actually telling if you've got any changes. Now, the smear is something that's done as a routine thing every 3 years for all women in a certain age group. It's just scraping of some of the cells in the lining of, it's not the lining of the womb, it's just the inside of the bottom bit of your womb, and these cells are sent on a lab to the lab. They mostly return, well, when the results come back, they're mostly normal, but if they are abnormal, we're asked for a repeat in 6 months, and if it's abnormal again, then you can have further investigations, which Dr. Gilmore will talk about later on. So the treatment for it is almost 100% effective if we do find something that's abnormal. I think Dr. Gilmore will confirm that later with me. And in 2007, there were 3.5 million women screened with the smear, and 40,000 of them had abnormalities needing further treatment. There's quite a few of them. So that's about it from me, and we'll see what Dr. Gilmore has to say. Thank you.